Yo, what's going on everyone? Count Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. Okay, so the big topic of discussion among the Pokemon Go community for the past week has been around Gigantamax Battles. This was something that was supposed to be the next big thing in Pokemon Go, and a lot of players were certainly excited about it, but upon its release, it created a lot of controversies, mainly because of the requirement of having just an exorbitant amount of players. And I think because of this, a lot of players are very frustrated that Niantic has been pushing so heavily into the community-based gameplay, and I've certainly talked about it a lot on my channel. But today I wanted to kind of switch gears and talk about what I would have done with Max Battles and Gigantamax Battles that would have made it a much better system and something that players would have actually enjoyed. This is me trying to be very constructive behind a lot of my criticisms so that Niantic could make some positive changes moving forward. So first and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room, the exorbitant amount of players that are required to take down these bosses. Now, I totally understand why Niantic did this, because they want to make a lot of revenue, because people are going to spend money on getting those max particle packs in the Pokeshop, and they're going to try to do multiples of these if they can get a large group together. And I think because of that, Niantic is trying to cash in on the players who are trying to actually get these Pokemon. And then on top of that, having such a huge number of players required means that, well, you're just going to be engaging a lot more with people around you. And don't get me wrong, on paper, I totally understand this. Like, it does make sense, because everything that has been really good about Pokemon Go usually involves community-based play. But when it comes to this new feature, I feel like it would have worked out a lot better if Niantic designed it in a way where it was going to be solo progression. In a very similar vein to Team Go Rocket Battles, that's how I would have approached Max Battles, in that when it comes to doing 1-star max raids, like you're going to be able to take them down by yourself, it's pretty easy. But as you progress to 3-star and then as well as 5-star, these Gigantamax Battles, it requires you to continue to pump in resources into these Dynamax Pokemon and use these Pokemon in different ways. And I think that would have gone over a lot better than just simply trying to get as many players as possible in order to take them down, because realistically that's not possible for a majority of players. Like, even for myself, the fact that you cannot remote raid into these or you cannot use people from your friends list, it makes it so that if you're just out and about playing and you come across one of these Gigantamax Battles, you're just simply not going to be able to do it. It's only going to be possible if you have a coordinated big group of at least 20 trainers. And if you just so happen to be a hardcore player with a ton of resources where you could max out a lot of these Gigantamax Pokemon really quickly, then you're only going to need about 10 trainers. But even so, that is a huge number. And recently it was reported that over in Japan, there was a group of 4 that was able to successfully take down Gigantamax Gengar. And to them, I will say that is very impressive, but that's not going to be the case for pretty much anyone. It's going to be the most dedicated players and people who just play this game to a different level than everyone else that are actually going to complete these Gigantamax Battles with that few number of trainers. But I think what Niantic did is create something where they just expected everyone to just congregate together to take them down, and I think that's not necessarily realistic. Now, this falls in line with a video I recently put out talking about why I wish Niantic would make more solo content as opposed to group content, and that's the direction that they need to go. And the reason why I believe that is because there needs to be a good balance in this game for just about every single player, because accessibility is such a huge issue when it comes to Pokemon Go that if they were to create more solo-based content, then it's going to allow more players to actually enjoy the content. Because with Gigantamax Battles requiring so many trainers, just pretty much everyone is not going to be able to do it unless they're in a dedicated community. And then for people who live in rural areas who have a small community to begin with, they're always going to struggle when it comes to this sort of content. So I really feel like for Niantic, they should have approached this in the same way that they approached Team Go Rocket Battles, where it's extremely challenging and it does require a lot of dedication and a lot of research in order for you to take down the team leaders along with Giovanni. But it's all stuff you could do at your own pace. And then also, like Giovanni battles and the team leader battles, you could rotate the Pokemon that you are battling and you're going to be able to catch. and it's going to be something that pretty much any player can get behind as long as they are dedicated. And I think this approach would have worked so much better for Max Battles as opposed to them being just a huge Zerg fest with the biggest communities coming out on top. And I think because Niantic always designs Pokemon Go with the lens that everyone is playing like how they do in Tokyo and San Francisco, that they completely neglect a majority of the players who just simply do not have those kind of communities. So yeah, I think there's so many different flaws with the current Max Battle system along with Gigantamax Battles that it would have been all fixed if Niantic were to gear it towards solo content. And at the beginning, that's what it felt like. With Max Battles, I was very high about it because I really felt like it was great, solid solo content. But the moment they started incorporating group play into this content, that's when it just completely fell off for me. I still have not completed even one Gigantamax battle in this game. And as someone who has been dedicated to Pokemon Go for several years now, it really feels weird that there's just content out there that I just don't have access to. And yeah, I totally recognize that if I were to play ball and actually join up with my local communities to take down these Gigantamax battles, then I will actually be able to complete them. But I do feel like forcing me to do that just does not feel great. And there's a lot of things in Pokemon Go that I really enjoy just playing by myself, and I just wish this was just another form of content that I could progress in through my own pace. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, and I really do hope they make some adjustments because ultimately this is a system that's just going to fall by the wayside in a very similar vein to like party play and routes that Niantic is dedicating a lot of resources to creating these new forms of gameplay, but just a majority of players are just not getting behind it. And it's really because they have the incorrect philosophy that everything in this game has to be community-based. It doesn't have to be that way. I really wish Niantic got that message. There are certainly a lot of great things that you could do within a community, like with community days and with raid days, of course with raid battles by themselves. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do to get a better experience when you play with the community, but there's also a lot of great content in this game that you could enjoy by yourself. PvP, Team Go Rocket leader battles, gym battles, like the Pokestop showcases, just going out and catching Pokemon. Like, there's so many things you could do in this game that can be enjoyed solo, and I kind of wish Niantic focused more of their resources on that sort of content. But yeah, unfortunately with this Gigantamax Battles saga, I just really think it's just a huge oversight. It just goes to show that Niantic is completely out of touch with how their community is playing the game. And I really do hope they make adjustments in 2025 because when it comes to Gigantamax Battles, it's something that I see as a huge missed opportunity. Again, if they made it in the same way that they've been doing Team Go Rocket battles, it would have been a much more successful system, in my opinion. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding all of this down below. I totally recognize that this is probably one video too many on this subject, but I really want to hammer it in that this is a huge issue with Pokemon Go, and I really want them to change things in 2025. So make sure you sound off your comments and your thoughts and opinions regarding this whole thing down below so that we can have a great discussion and we can continue to provide constructive feedback to Niantic. And that's really my only goal here. So yeah, thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the absolute best way to do so is always going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you become a paid Patreon member, you get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon Go friends list. So when it comes to stuff like remote raids and the friendship system, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you could do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. With all that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one.